welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 68. Yeah, I did get that right, 68. And so, it is now time for us to move onwards to the car type events once again, and officially this time, we are now doing the Professional League car type events. And well, ultimately overall, I do not know which car to use for the FF challenge, so I'm going to do this the easy way and look by drivetrain and see which cars I've not driven yet. Let's have a look. Well, Beetle Cup car, that would be the obvious choice. And well, the Toyota Celica TRD Sports M. Yeah, let's use this thing. Let's use the Toyota Celica TRD Sports for this event. And officially, because I know very well this is the Professional League, obviously, we cannot fuck around with these AI. We need tuning on. And well, just because I have a feeling understeer is going to be a problem, I'm going to put on the fully customizable suspension so I'm not understeering too much, and also going to put on a racing exhaust because I have a feeling this AI will probably have some excellent tuning, and I'm also going to put on the Stage 2 engine because obviously this thing is normally aspirated, and also going to put on a racing chip and also put on the port polish, and hopefully that should be everything I need from the engine compartment. Don't think I need anything from the drivetrain. Turbo kits are not available, just checking to be sure, and I'm also going to put on the racing slick tyres because I have a feeling since these races are only 10 laps long, I think I only need the racing slicks, and I'm also going to put on the first two stages of weight reduction, and hopefully that should be all. And I think the only other thing I'm going to do is just give this thing a little oil change, and then hopefully we shall see how we go from there. So, heading down to the Professional League once again, and it is now time for the FF challenge. So it is a 3-race event, obviously single race event as it has been in the previous 2 FF challenges, and circuits we are going to are Deep Forest Reverse, Rome and Monaco for the finale. And the one thing that really sucks about this is the fact I'm saying I only get 10 grand from winning this. And oddly enough, in many cases, that is poor by beginner league standards in my honest opinion, but I'm hopeful in saying these races will be decided on pit stops, and hopefully that will be precisely what will lead me up to the victory. So in this field we have a Mitsubishi FTO along with another TRD Celica, a Honda Integra, a Fiat Coupe Turbo and a Honda Accord in this starting lineup. And since I basically have 300 horsepower in this thing, I'm also going to turn off the driver aids. No settings from the downforce, unfortunately. And yeah, let's get going for 10 laps of Deep Forest, and hopefully 10 laps to a possible win, maybe. And I'm still getting wheel spin, but again, it is fine because I've managed to get a grip on this thing, and already I am starting to move up, as of which I am already up 1 position after 2 corners, and not gonna attempt a double pass because, well, that would be stupid, and going down the inside of my fellow Celica, and officially I am already up into the 3rd position. And oddly enough, at the moment, this is actually proving to be pretty easy, because I've already pretty much sliced my way up through the field from 6th to 1st, which is more 6th to 3rd, even though the Celica just overtook me once again. But I am quickly trying to fight back once I can find my biting point, and trying to see if I can maybe do the old switcheroo, as of which at the moment I am having little success at the present time, but managing to at least manoeuvre myself up into the 3rd position. And well, because there is a heat wave going on in England at the moment, my window is open. And since I was literally side by side with the other Celica, that was the reason why my first lap did not register. But it's fine, because I still have another 10 laps to catch up with the rest of the field. And I'm hopeful in saying that tyre wear will not be too much of an issue up to this point, considering obviously my right rear tyre is not really taking in too much of the damage, and that was a pretty heavy push there from the Integra. He ain't fucking around like I suspected he wouldn't. So currently running in 2nd position, basically trying to take my time with this event, as of which I'm already down on the inside, and immediately I slot myself into the lead because the Mitsubishi left the door open. And officially it is now a TRD Celica 1-2 at the moment, because there is myself and there is also the TRD Celica that is now right behind me up into 2nd. And so, at the end of lap 2, I do now take the lead by 0.6 of a second over my fellow TRD Celica, and cut the first corner a little bit there, probably because I had a snap of understeer, because obviously this thing is front wheel drive, and fortunately not having too many problems at the moment. Of course, tyre wear did concern me very briefly, but again, because I am on durable tyres, I'm hopeful in saying that I will manage to get to the end of this race, although the main reason why I consider myself to be lucky is ultimately because, well, I got lucky with the field in this first race, because we didn't have any of the heavy hitters the way it stood. So the gap is now pretty much 0.75 of a second over the TRD Celica as we come up to the end of the 3rd lap. I do now lead once again as we head through the hairpin, and looks as though everything is ready to be taken in moderation. Tyre wear at the moment is proving to be okay. I am not having too many problems at the moment, and as of which I am already on to the 4th lap, and it's taken me about 4.5 minutes. And well, ignore the lap charts, because officially this is now lap 4, it is not lap 3, because for some reason whenever I'm side by side with the AI at the line, it registers what the best lap time is, but it doesn't register it as an official lap time for some reason, probably because I'm alongside one of the AI as I head up to the line of completing a lap. I don't know why it does that, but ultimately that's just something this game does, I guess, would be the main point I'm trying to break out here. Although the two main hitters that we officially have in this race, in this event, are notably both would notably have to be both the I do apologise if I'm repeating myself, but the two main heavy hitters in this event are probably the VW Beetle Cup car, which is very much the obvious choice, and the other one would notably have to be the Spoon Civic Type R. Even though in this race at the moment I'm currently running first with my fellow TRD Celica running in second, and as of which tyre wear is starting to concern me just a little bit, but I'm hopeful in saying that as long as I don't push on the tyres too hard up to this point, I am pretty certain, to say the least, that I will manage to go the distance and still win this race. So we are pretty much halfway through this race now, as we are now officially starting lap number 6, and I just improved on my best lap time by just under a second. And I would say at the moment a victory is more or less in the prospect books, because officially, since I have now managed to break away from the rest of the field at the present time, officially I am pretty certain this race will probably end up being a victory. From what I can work out, I'm also pretty certain up to this point that I probably have the tyres I need to go the full race distance, is what we thinks. And gap is now 4.6 seconds to the other TRD Celica. So obviously the Toyota Celicas at the moment are running in first and second, well, tuned Celicas I might add, because that's exactly what we are. And officially my lap times are definitely getting quicker and quicker, because I have now set a 1:25.6, and the gap at the end of lap 6 is now pretty much 5 seconds. So it's fair to say that I will probably win this thing. And the Fiat has now come into the pits, so obviously it's pretty much inevitable that in this race pit stops will evidently occur, and obviously because I have the most durable tyres in the pack, ultimately I would say the win, in my honest opinion, is more or less going to be mine by the time these AI have made their pit stops. Although, like I said before, I did get lucky with the field in this first race, because we don't have neither of the heavy hitters in this race to compensate. Although, fortunately, however, I can at least say that the Toyotas are running in both first and second. And I think it's fair to say, up to this point, I can pretty much afford to take it easy. because I would say the interval between myself and the other TRD Celica is pretty much extending by probably a second per lap from what I can make out, and it looks like another lap time did not... oh, hold on. No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Ignore what I was thinking, because I thought for sure another lap time was not registered, but yeah, sorry about that. I'm wrong. I'm just getting confused. Like I basically do every day, because that's just part of my personality. Anyways. As you would expect, I am of course continually extending my interval. And so we now have just 2 laps to go here at Deep Forest Reverse. It's pretty much fair to say that I will probably win this race full stop, as I now set a new best lap time by 0.3 of a second. Okay, I did not cut the course, although I paid the price for it, and furthermore the second and third placed cars have now come in for a pit stop. And ultimately they are not going to lose any positions, because apparently it might be... the overcut is pretty powerful here at Deep Forest, and surprisingly I'm not having as many tyre issues as I thought I was going to have, because oddly enough my tyres are still looking good, and I thought for sure this gamble wasn't going to pay off, but fortunately in the end it did, and also fortunately for me at least, I can now say I will certainly emerge victorious by the time I have completed the next lap, because I am the only one who does not have to make a pit stop, fortunately. So I think that pretty much confirms that as a result of me getting lucky with the field in this first race, that officially I am definitely going to emerge as the winner. So, starting to see a little bit of wear there on the left side tyres, although fortunately, however, I am pretty certain that I will manage to go the distance. Tyre wear is not proving to be a major concern at the moment, and I'm pretty confident, to say the least, that as long as I don't burn out the tyres, I should be able to make it to the end of the race without any major concerns. So, a little bit of wear is showing on the left side tyres, but fortunately at least, it is not in the red zone, and officially it is going to be a victory in race number 1. Also, I forgot to mention this is the final lap, but whatever. Anyways, I win. And I am leading by over half a minute, so let's wait for everybody else to get to the finish line. There he is. So in the end of that, I won by 32.7 seconds over my fellow TRD Celica. The Integra was third, then it was the Mitsubishi, followed by the Fiat, and then at the back, over a minute behind me, was the Honda Accord, and was pretty much way the fuck behind everyone else as well, basically. And so there we go. It is a 1-2 finish for the TRD Celicas, and officially, just because I want to, I am going to save this replay. Why? Because I can. Also because it means I do not have to deal with the stress later on in the LP. So, yeah. One race down and still 2 to go. And so I'm going to keep the tuning on because I would imagine this is where the heavy hitters do appear in this race, and indeed we do have one of the heavy hitters, and by that I mean we have the Beetle Cup car, as well as also having the Mitsubishi FTO along with the TRD Celica, the Fiat Coupe and the Honda Accord. So let's get through race number 2. Getting a wheel spin start as I would expect myself to get, and officially I can pretty much say at the very least I may have enough power to compete against the Beetle Cup car when it comes down to pit stops, because obviously I do not want to jinx my hopes and opportunities of winning this race. I pretty much have all the tuning I need. I also did an oil change just in case, because I figured I was needing some additional HP, which is exactly what I have. And already I have manoeuvred my way up to the 2nd position, as we are pretty much halfway through the lap. And heading through this 2nd section of Coliseum Corners now, and just nudging the inside guardrail a little bit there, but obviously, as I expected, the Beetle is already starting to extend his lead, and oh shit, that's a wall. Ah, damn it. Oh, I'm getting understeer. It's okay, it's fine. I caught it right before I knew it was going to be an issue. And it looks as though tyre wear could be more of an issue here than it was at Deep Forest. Although I'm hoping that will not be the case because this is only the 1st lap. And the gap has now increased to 1.5 seconds, but obviously that's more or less what I would have expected, because obviously I'm basically going to be waiting until a pit stop happens for me to officially take the advantage, or at least until the tyres on the Beetle start to wear off, because I am fairly confident, to say the least, in saying that they will inevitably wear off by the time we get to probably the final 2 laps of this race. Even though I am managing to close in on the Beetle, or at least keep up with the Beetle I should say. Officially, at the moment, I can probably confirm in saying that this will probably not be an easy win, unless a pit stop happens. And I'm hopeful in saying that it will happen, because that is what I'm relying on. So, the margin now to the Beetle is building up slowly, but obviously it's not building up by as much as it would have done had I not put the tuning on. And I am hopeful in saying that the Beetle does manage to make a pit stop, and then when he does, I can basically just go out in front and then basically just remain uncontested for the final lap. And almost double sure I got airborne there when I got on those inside curbs, but fortunately I did not, and getting a little bit of understeer as I head through the corner, and that's a wall. Anyways, I am still a contender for the race win, possibly. considering I do manage to close down the margin once again through the first sector, even though the Beetle is apparently stronger than me in both the second and final sectors. And I should have probably given myself some water before starting this LP, because my voice is starting to dry up again with all this constant commentary shit. Okay, so apparently I am wrong. I'm able to close in on both the first and second sectors here in Rome, but oddly enough the Beetle is able to extend that margin again once we head through the final sector. Apparent as it might be. Yep. Well, at least I can say I'm keeping up with the Beetle. As I'm also just scratching my nostril because I'm feeling itch. It gets really annoying from time to time. Sometimes you just cannot resist it even if you know for sure you're going to crash. Fortunately, however, I do have enough experience in this game to not always make rookie mistakes. But again, because we aren't at Deep Forest, I would imagine tyre degradation is probably not going to be as much of an issue, although I can say at the very least that I am able to keep up with the Beetle on pure pace, and officially the gap has now decreased to 1.1 seconds, so tyre wear must be kicking in for the Beetle, and I am pretty certain it is only a matter of time before I do manage to pull off the overtake for the lead. He is not going to stay in the lead too much longer, I don't think. So, tyre wear must be playing a key indication of how exactly the rest of this race is going to go. I would imagine it's inevitable that a pit stop is going to be made, and ultimately, sooner or later, I am going to pull off a pass for the lead. Considering this is literally a replication of what happened at the Rome circuit during the Professional Boxer Spirit, where I was basically driving a Subaru Impreza 22B, and I was pretty much riding behind a Roof RGT pretty much all race long until like the closing laps of the race, and then suddenly, just like that, because I noticed the RGT was on worn tyres, that was effectively how I eventually managed to take over the lead. And it looks as though that could very much be replicated in this event like it did in the Boxer Spirit, and I am hopeful to say at the very least that I will manage to eventually win this race. So, it's definitely been a contested race between myself and the Beetle so far, and as for the rest of the pack, well, they've pretty much been separated, and they've managed to balance their positions up to this point. So positions for the rest of the field are pretty much stabilised. I'm still running in second currently to the Beetle, but I'm hopeful in saying that I will manage to make a bid for the lead sooner or later, considering we are now officially 6 laps into this race. Tyre wear is not proving to be too much of an issue at the present time. I'm hopeful in saying that I will manage to make it to the end of the race, because those are very much my hopes and ambitions, and I'm also going to have to scratch my nose again because apparently there might be something is on my nose just being annoying. And slotting down the inside, the Beetle gives me a nudge, and I think that may have been the mistake that effectively gave me the lead, although then again, I'm not going to make any guarantees because I know how fast the Beetle is in the final sector. He's got exceptional straight line speed, even though I do have stronger cornering speed. Got a little bit airborne there on the right hand side. The Beetle does manage to beat me by default of straight line speed as we head into the corner, but I'm able to pull off the old switcheroony and got a little bit of understeer there off the corner exit. I think it's evident really the Beetle is definitely having tyre troubles up to this point, and I am hopeful in saying that I will manage to pull off the pass, because that is exactly what I'm gunning for. And down the inside I go through the second right-hander to officially retaking the lead. It is a pretty much evenly balanced race up to this point. Even though it may be a 2-horse race, officially I can pretty much say this has been quite a competitive race in my honest opinion, and I don't know why my nose keeps continuing to be itchy for some reason. Might have a bug on it or something, I don't fucking know. Anyways. Down of course to the second of these 2 right-handers, and officially we now have just 2 laps to go. Sorry, 3 laps to go here in Rome, as of which already heading through turn 1. Got a little bit of a bounce there from the inside curbs, although fortunately, however, it's not causing any major concerns. Oh, dicks! I am not paying attention. And I should have kept this thing in 4th gear, or else I wouldn't have had the wheel spin. Although, obviously it doesn't matter too much because I do have the lead now here at Rome, and obviously the Beetle is definitely keeping up with me, even on worn tyres, but it seems inevitable that sooner or later he will be making a pit stop, because that is exactly what all these other AI have been doing. Also, I just saw the sun. Anyways, so pretty much 3/4 of a second now, or just over that, to the Beetle. It looks as though this is going to be a relatively uncontested final 2 laps, because obviously this is the professional league and domination does happen a lot in professional league races if you have the most dominant car in the field. And I'm hopeful in saying that this will be enough to hopefully help me to securing the victory. So, left side tyres again starting to show some wear, or at least my front tyres are, and the gap is now just over a second to the Beetle, so margins are definitely increasing as we are heading into the final lap here in Rome. And it looks as though the final lap overall is going to be relatively uncontested. And not just by default of modesty, but ultimately because of my correct amount of tuning. It officially looks as though this is ultimately going to be a race win. And as of which, yes, I did just see the sun behind me. Alright, so, final lap, and it doesn't look as though the Beetle is going to pit. And ultimately, he has decided to stay close to me, so officially, by default of tyre longevity, it looks as though I am officially going to win again in the professional league. As we now head through the Colosseum corners now for the final time, we are not far from overlapping the back markers in this race, as of which I'm pretty certain that one of them would have to be the Honda Accord. Tyre longevity has officially managed to help me in winning this race. The Beetle has not come into the pits, but ultimately, because I had the more durable tyres at the end of the day, that is ultimately what has coherently won me this race, and I am pretty certain that obviously my unity with tyre mileage has really been doing me some good. So 3.4 seconds now the gap to the Beetle. He is still keeping up relatively close, but obviously it is safe to say that I am continually extending my lead pretty much lap after lap up to this point. And is the Beetle gonna pit? No, he is not. So officially I narrowly beat the Beetle Cup car here in Rome by default of tyre durability. And there is the rest of the field, where way the fuck behind us is the other TRD Celica. Alright, so that was a close and interesting race. Let's now wait for everyone else to finish, in spite of it being a two-horse race. Alright, so everyone has managed to finish, and I think it's pretty clear to see who the two back markers were in that race. But overall, a pretty interesting race between myself and the Beetle, even though the rest of the field was basically a long way behind us. Although it still sucks somehow we only get 10 grand from winning these races. So yeah, that's your order for race 2, and let's now head over to the final race, which takes place at Monaco, and where I am pretty certain this will probably be a guaranteed dub. And officially overall in this race we now have the other heavy hitter in this event, which is the Spoon Civic Type R. Other competitors we have in this event are the Honda Integra, the Honda Accord, and the Fiat Coupe. So let's just get through this event and hope, of course, that we can manage to successfully pull off a win. And more or less the inevitable wheel spin coming from the front tyres, because obviously front wheel drive, and ultimately I am pretty certain by the time I have cleared the traffic in this race, as of which this is of course the Monaco circuit where you can actually make overtakes, unlike the real life circuit. Officially I have now already manoeuvred myself up into the second position, and the only real competitor I have in this race is the Spoon Civic, from what I can tell here. And I am hopeful in saying that at the very least I will manage to contend for the lead, and the Civic is already hitting the wall. And once I do manage to overtake the Civic, I am pretty certain this will probably be a boring race, because the lead will probably not change hands again by the time I have officially secured the race lead. And the Civic was also forcing me into the wall there, so he has got some pace on this first lap, it must be said. He is not letting me take the lead, and he's also getting very aggressive with me at the moment. Even though, obviously... Oh, can you go fuck yourself? And unfortunately, I have to get some wheel spin from my front tyres because the Civic fucked me. And I'm trying not to get too much wheel spin, as of which we are now already at the end of lap 1, and ultimately overall the Civic really knows how to be an arsehole. And at the moment at least he is proving to be a contender, although I am hopeful in saying that pit stops will hopefully prevent him from getting away from me, considering obviously the Civic knows how to be a real arsehole, because he has already forced me into the fucking barriers twice in this event, and I need to avoid shifting down to second, because that is a bad idea. I am going to use third gear as my lowest, and not second. And the Civic has hit the wall again. I got a better exit this time, and ultimately I do manage to retake the lead as we head through the tunnel. My car at the moment clearly proving to be much faster. I throw the block on the Civic, and at the very least I do not exchange too much paint in pulling off the pass, and already I can now say the win, by the time I have cleared the Civic officially, will almost certainly be mine, because, well, the AI, they are pretty terrible around Monaco, and I need to avoid shifting lower than third gear. I think I made a little contact there with the wall, but I am pretty confident, to say the least, in classifying myself as being the certain winner, because once I overtook the Civic, I was 2 seconds clear through the swimming pool section, and right now I'm pretty much 3 seconds clear, so I think that pretty much goes to show you how incompetent the AI are around Monaco. As of which I am now heading through Casino Square and down the hill to Mirabeau now for the third time. Before those happen, the Civic is trying to close up, but obviously it is fair to say I have the stronger car overall when it comes to the full lap. The Civic closed up a little bit there, but obviously because of how much wrecking these AI are doing throughout this race, it would not surprise me if sooner or later positions are going to be changed via pit stops. As of which the Civic at the moment is just driving terribly, because he's literally just hitting the walls every lap here at Monaco, and oddly enough, that is exactly where I am managing to get the advantage, because I am now 5 seconds clear of the Civic, and that margin is only going to increase, I'm sure of it. I'm sure to say at the most that margin will definitely increase. So 3 laps are down and still 7 to go. As I just have a little burp there, since it hasn't been long since I had my dinner. But anyways, I am still continuing to burp. And I don't know if that is from the pasta I had earlier, or if that is from the water I drank earlier. I don't know which. Anyways, this I am pretty certain is going to be an easy win, because I was 5 seconds clear by the time we got to the swimming pool section, and I'm pretty certain that margin is only going to gradually increase as we go the rest of the way here at Monaco, because apparently there might be these AI do not know how to get around Monaco without crashing in every fucking corner. They do not have the competence to properly drive Monaco, unfortunately. And that officially means this race is going to be an easy dub, is what me thinks. Although, fortunately, however, I can at least say that I am starting to build up my momentum, as which 4 laps are now done, and officially I set a new best lap time in the process as I head through Saint-Devote, and now officially heading up the hill now into the Hotel de Paris once again, as I see some spectators very much enjoying the pre-COVID world, and heading down the hill into Casino Square and down through Mirabeau right before Lowe's Hairpin, as of which there is a car park just above there, or as they used to call it, the station hairpin, and through the first and second portier corners now, as of which I think both of them are meant to be 90-degree right-handers, and ultimately I am pretty certain this is going to be an easy win. So really don't think I was needing as much tuning on this thing as I thought I did, and I shifted down into second gear, which is one thing I should not have done. And because I am forgetting it's summer, I am unsurprisingly getting hot again. Almost made the same mistake again, because apparently there might be... I get tons of wheel spin if I shift down into second gear, and that is of course something I need to stop doing. So my lap times at the moment are relatively even, because the past couple of laps I've set, they've basically been the low 151s, or basically mid 151s. And I think it's fair to say that I will probably be close to an entire lap clear of the Honda Accord if I'm able to get close enough, or not far off a full lap ahead of the Honda Accord. And that's a wall, because I forgot how tight it is to properly overtake here at Monaco. Overtaking is still pretty difficult because, well, obviously it's Monaco, but at the very least I can definitely say for certain that Polyphony's version of Monaco is better than the real life version. And because I know very well this AI are just basically fucking themselves around Monaco, because of how dominant I am at the moment, I am more or less doing the same. But it doesn't mean I have to keep doing it and just being a fucko. So, 6 laps gone and still 4 to go as we head through the streets of Monaco once again. And yep, my microphone is switched on, as which I am of course checking to see if my voice is being registered in the taping, and 21.8 seconds is now the interval to the Spoon Civic, but I'm pretty certain that interval will inevitably extend. The rest of the field up to this point has pretty much been strung out, because obviously this is professional league racing at Monaco. Ultimately, this overall, since I took the lead, has been a pretty boring race. Although that's more or less what I anticipated was going to happen, because, yeah, just total control, I guess, would be the main point I'm trying to make. So, 7 laps down and still 3 to go. And this is precisely what usually tends to happen at Monaco. One driver basically tends to extend his interval over all the others because of how largely incompetent these AI are around this circuit, in comparison to other circuits where they are actually stronger. Yeah, 27 seconds. I think that's pretty much guaranteed the thoughts of me not winning this race. Sorry. I think that's pretty much guaranteed the impossibilities of me losing this race. Because if I can basically just keep going and doing whatever the fuck it is I'm doing at the moment, then I will basically just be constantly extending my lead virtually unchallenged, lap after lap, because that is basically all I am really doing at the moment. I am just continuing my unconditional domination, because, well, this is Monaco, and if you are a better driver around Monaco than these AI are around the circuit, then 9 times out of 10 you should probably be guaranteed the win, dependent on knowing how strung out the competition is going to be. And that's exactly what it is here, so 2 laps left, and then we are complete with the Professional FF Challenge. And also, furthermore, I do not have to stare my eyes into that blinding sun anymore. Or at least, I should probably say into the blinding Mediterranean sun. Because, oddly enough, I think at times the sun around this track, that can tend to be quite annoying, considering it literally appears through most corners of the lap. It gets kind of annoying from time to time, but oddly enough, I don't think it annoys me enough to say that I actually hate the scenario of the circuit overall. I mean, the circuit is definitely not one of my personal favourites, but again, this version of Monaco is definitely better than the real life version. I can guarantee that for sure. Anyways, the Fiat Coupe is now in the pits, and I'm pretty certain in saying that I will not overlap him before this race is out. He's basically the only one that has come into the pits. I'm pretty certain I will not overlap him because I'm well behind the Fiat in terms of overall lap time, but again, I'm pretty certain, to say the least, that this has just been a dominating performance, and in the process I also set a new best lap as I start the final lap. Oh, bollocks. I hit the outside wall through Sandevort. Anyways, it doesn't matter because I pretty much have a dominating lead over the rest of the field anyway. I am virtually unchallenged for the lead up to this point, and ultimately this is of course the final lap, and officially the Civic is now in the pits, and oh damn it, I am scraping the outside wall at Lowe's hairpin. Something I should not be doing, but again I just did anyway, just to showcase my dominance. Anyways, 53.6 seconds is now the margin to the Civic as a result of his pit stop, and officially I would imagine I'm going to be waiting quite a while for everyone else to finish. Considering once again I am nearly a lap ahead of the two back markers in this race, which are notably the Fiat Coupe and the Honda Accord, and the Honda now comes into the pits right before starting his final lap, and officially it does not look like I'm going to overlap him, unfortunately, but at the very least I can definitely say this race has just been a dominant performance, pretty much unchallenged when I took the lead, and officially I'm unchallenged for the win. And let's now wait for everyone else to finish, because this has been a boring race. Finally, everyone has actually finished the race, and overall, I was a minute ahead of the Spoon Civic. Meanwhile, the Civic was literally an entire minute ahead of the Honda Accord. Thank God that's over. And thank God I got these news fast over with. And yep, I do have a replay saved. Okay, good. Let's now move onwards to the prize car and see what we get. And the car we get is... what do you know? We get the Spoon Civic Type R, the car that we basically beat at Monaco, except for saying this one is in Initial D colours, because it's in yellow, with a carbon hood. But there we go. The FF Challenge is a coin sweep, and next time we will be doing the FR Challenge. And so, in the end of that, we are now 72.9% complete with the game, And officially, this is our prize car. A Spoon Civic Type R in Sunlight Yellow. And I must admit, this thing actually looks pretty good in my honest opinion. Yeah, this thing looks nice. Especially considering this is basically in the same colours as the Civic Type R that appeared in... what was it? The 4th stage of Initial D? Yeah, I know it was Initial D, but I'm pretty sure this was one of the cars from the Todo driving school, from what I can remember. Which is a group in Initial D for some reason. Alright, anyways, I'm done. And so, next time we move onwards to the FR challenge. Stay tuned.